What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got another video for you. This time we're discussing Cyberstyle and the new structure deck, which is incredibly hype. I'm really excited to talk about this because this was probably my third, maybe even my second legitimate option for the structure deck poll. It ended up winning, so or at least getting second. At the last second, Ice Barrier jumped it for first place, but still, we still get a structure deck, so we ain't mad. What's weird though is a couple of different things on this. So first and foremost, what is Cyberstyle? And like, I get it, like it's whatever Zane played, but Zane changed his decks in the anime. He played Cyber Dragon for a little bit, and then he changed to Cyber. Whoa, that's a bad example. Oh boy. And then he changed it to Cyberdarks because I guess he had his like edgy emo phase later in I guess that season, or in season I think 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where he did end up playing these, and this is where you hear the phrase, this season is where you hear the phrase cyber style more often than before. So something interesting here is like, what is this going to be? Is it going to be Cyber Dragon support? Is it going to be Cyber Dark support? And there's even like extremely tiny chance that his teacher, what the principal's name, I can't remember what the principal's name was, but he played like Cyber Ogre, and he was the one who taught Zane about cyber style or whatever. And so there's like weird things going on there, but I don't think it's going to be the Cyber Ogre stuff. For the sake of this video, we're not going to talk about that. I'm focusing on mainly Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dark. So if we're going to look at Cyber Darks, they need some help. And one of the reasons that I think would be, well, I guess not reasons, but one of the things I think would be really cool is if we just saw this with like the Phantom Knights and Raid Raptor stuff, as well as the UA and FA stuff, is like they have cards that kind of work for both. And what if we see that here? What if we see cards that help to, one, like I guess sort of mesh, but also mainly just work in both archetypes individually? That would be really, really cool to see, so that people who love Cyber Dragons, which is one of like maybe top 5 most beloved archetypes of all time, behind like, I don't know, Heroes, Dark Magician, and there's something else I can't remember. It's probably something else, Tunes, something like that, I don't know. You know what I mean? And also giving support to a deck that also a lot of people like, because it is still a Zane deck. It is still cool, the Cyber Darks. They just were never made as good as Cyber Dragons are. So today we're going to start off by looking at some of the Cyber Dark stuff, because they need a lot of help. So we're going to look through all of their cards, because there's honestly not that many. So let's just get into that, all right? Starting off with the monsters, the main ones, we have Horn, Keel, and Edge. They all pretty much say, like on normal summon, you can target a level 3 or lower dragon engrave, equip them to themselves, and then they gain attack equal to the monster equipped, and then they gain like an additional effect. So like Horn can deal piercing damage, Keel can just deal 300 if it kills an opponent's monster, and then this card can attack directly. Edge can attack directly. So they're all pretty bad. They also still can protect themselves if they would be destroyed by battle, by destroying the monster equipped instead. But they're all like pretty bad, right? Pretty outdated. Like, yeah, cool, they equip, they get a little bigger, but the bonus effects are not good. If they could like, if one of them was like equip a monster, and then while this monster's equipped, it can just like be a Trident or a negate, like that would be so clean. But unfortunately, that is not the case here, and it's rough because that's really not good. Fortunately, they did get some support in a legendary duelist, starting off with Cannon. This card's actually really good because like if you send a graveyard while equipped to a monster, you draw a card. Cool, free draw, nice. Also, you can discard this card to just add any machine Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand. Great, that's a Rhoda into that. And then also during damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can actually just Foolish Burial any monster from your deck to the graveyard. That is also really, really nice. So do not sleep on this card as well. This card's legitimately like a solid card, a solid basis. And Claw kind of goes hand in hand. They're kind of very similar, because this one says if it's at the graveyard well equipped, you add a Cyber Dark monster from graveyard back to your hand. You can discard it to add any Cyber Dark spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And during damage calculation, a monster equipped with this battles, send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. That could be Elder Entity Untis. That could be Herald of the Arclave. You're playing like a weird, bad ritual version of the deck. But there are other things there that are really cool in what you can send. So yeah, this one goes hand in hand. This one searches the spells and traps. This one searches the monsters. They're great. I honestly think both these cards are great and will be extremely good if Cyberdarks get some other support. Then you have the field spell. The field spell is also pretty cool. This card just gives you some really nice protection, making cyberdark monsters you control that are equipped with a card currently. They cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects. So just no targeting, no destruction by card effects. Also, once per turn, you can target a cyberdark monster you control, return it to the hand, then immediately normal summon another cyberdark monsters. That's another thing that you can just like swap them out. That's a once per turn, and then also if this card in your control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add a polymerization or a fusion spell from your deck to your hand. Another weird effect, but it is any polymerization or fusion, so super poly, instant fusion. I don't know. That's a nice little float, I guess, for sure. But yeah, actually, overall, like, not a bad card. You have Cyberdark Impact. I did not know this picture was this big, but it's very simple. It just says fusion summon a Cyberdark Dragon from your extra deck by returning one each of Horn, Edge, and Keel from your from your hand, graveyard, or anywhere on your field to the deck as fusion material. I like that it uses graveyard because it means you can just use resources that you've already been through, just toss them back into the deck. It's kind of like recursion, while at the same time getting out a boss monster. And the best part about it is you don't even have to necessarily use anything from your field, any active resources to do it. So I think this is a pretty good card. It's not a fusion card by name, so you cannot search it off of the field spell or even like Ferte Anaconda, which is kind of a shame, but still it's an in-archetype. It is Cyberdark card, so you can search it off Claw, whatever. And then you have a brawl sponsors. You have Cyberdark Dragon. This one is the really not so good one because this one says, when this card is special summoned, select a dragon monster in your graveyard and equip it to this card. This card gains attack equal to the attack of that. Also, this card gains 100 for each monster card in the graveyard. And if this card would be destroyed in battle, you can destroy an equipped monster instead. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it just becomes a big beater with battle protection. Nope. It's like really bad. And it takes all three. It's just requires too much. Cyber Darkness Dragon, though, is a little bit better. The problem is he takes 5 Cyberdark monsters to make. That's the big problem for him. But if he is special summoned, you can equip a dragon or machine monster from grave to himself. Really nice. Gains attack equal to the original attack. Okay, on top of the 2000. That's pretty good. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send an equipped card you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do destroy it, one other thing I want to note, that's not once per turn. So if you had multiple cards equipped to him or just other monsters with cards equipped to them, boom, negates. The other thing, this card takes, dude, the 5 Cyberdark effect monsters requirement for this is so brutal. Like, I get it. This card's really strong, but, like, it's Cyberdarks. Like, they could have made this, like, 3 Cyberdark monsters. Even 2, I wouldn't have been mad about, because at least the deck would have been able to get them out nice and easy. If you get them out, you're feeling pretty good, but how easy is that? Not the most at this moment in time. So that's literally it for all the Cyberdark cards. I think they're cool, but they don't do much. Like, this card is the only card that has legitimate disruption in the archetype, and he takes 5 effect monsters. So I have 5 Cyberdark like materials to make, which really hurts. Which really just hurts your ability to like get him out easily. So you can't reliably get into him. The deck doesn't have as like any other like reliable like disruption. But at least we do have Searchers. Between Cannon and Claw, those are easily the 2 best cards in the archetype at this moment in time. So I think Konami, if they do try to support Cyberdarks, should build around that and go from there. But that's it for the Cyberdark stuff. I want to talk real quick about Cyber Dragons as well, because this is the more important one in my eyes, just in terms of the competitive scene and what most players are going to be looking forward to. There's going to be that small faction of people that are looking forward to Cyberdarks. But Konami wants money. And if they want more money, this structure has to have Cyber Dragon support, stuff that legitimately helps the deck, because one of the biggest things with Cyber Dragon at the moment is they're suffering kind of like a power diminishment, power diminishing, whatever. They just lost a good amount of power moving from Master Rule 4 to Master Rule 5. Now that everybody is not floodgated into having to play through that extra monster zone, people are just ending on synchro boards with like nothing in the extra monster zone, or if they do, one of their more insignificant monsters. You're not putting Boral Savage up there. You're not putting True King of All Calamities up there. And so the contact fusion mechanic really, really suffers from that. And that was one of the greatest like inherent strengths of Cyber Dragons over the last couple of years, pretty much since the inception of this the Chimera Tech like cards. And it hurt them a lot. So Konami needs to do something to them to help them, but not overly, because the deck has everything. Like, actually, it still has everything. I mean, just looking at this stuff, you have stuff like Core. This is one of the best searches we've ever seen in the game. It's insane, because they also have a spell that searches monsters. So essentially, this card searches any cyber card in the archetype. And then also Engrave, it has like a recursion effect. So insanely good. Stuff like Cyber Emergency, this is the card. This card searches any monster you want in your archetype. So if we got any Cyber Spell or Trap or any Cyber Monster, like both of these immediately make those better, which is really good. And just like more consistent. Consistency will not be a problem. Like I said, the Chimera Tech stuff, one of the greatest mechanics an archetype can have is something like this. You fight any machine deck, boom, you rip them to shreds. Like Orcus doesn't stand a chance versus this deck in my eyes. Well, they do, but like I would give it to Cyber Dragons, even though I think Orcus overall in the meta is a better deck, right? And then if any deck that like Salamangreat is a really tough matchup versus Cyber Dragons because they have to put their Sunlight Wolves in the extra monster zone. And you're just like, give me that Sunlight Wolf on my way into a 2400 beater that I know you might struggle to deal with. So that's really good as well. So Chimera Tech Mega Fleet has to be mentioned here. They also have access to some pretty nasty rank 5 stuff, mainly just Nova and Infinity, but this is a on-legs mind control paired with a Omni Negate, which is just so incredibly strong. So this is just also really good. And then the last thing I want to mention here, as far as like the main stuff, is stuff like Rampage Dragon. Like I could throw in the fusion spells as well. Because of Verte Anaconda, this card is so much more easily accessible, which is really, really nice. And yeah, so Rampage is pretty insane. You know, pop 2 back row, essentially be able to search any Cyber Dragon monster and dump one at the same time, essentially, and attack thrice with 2100 attack is just too much. Like what this card kills decks so easily. Now, there's a ton of other cards that I could mention. I could mention the Monster Reborn. I could mention Hers. I could mention Nashter. I could mention Veer. I could mention a Cybernetic Overflow is probably one I should have put in here because that's like another form of like really solid disruption the deck has access to. But yeah, this deck has already been fleshed out so much. This deck doesn't need a ton. But I think if Konami is smart, they'll put a little something in here that still buffs Cyber Dragon. But it needs to go back to Cyber Darks, in my opinion. I think like that doesn't make sense to me why they would even call this archetype cyber style as far as like for the vote. Like why would they not just put Cyber Dragon if it was straight up Cyber Dragon? I think they already had an idea in mind that if Cyber Dragon ended up winning the vote, they were like Cyber Dark and Cyber Dragon. That's why we put Cyber Style, so we're not overly committed to one, and we can do some cool things there. And I just think they've already just recently shown us with the Phantom Rage stuff, Phantom Knights, Raid Raptors, UA, FA, the combination of archetypes and cards that kind of work for both. I think that could be really nice. Like I would love like maybe another trap that's kind of disruption so that Cyber Darks can get in on that. Like, but it's a Cyber Dark card, but that still has cyber in the name, so like Core can still search it, right? So there's like some things there. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I just think I like this archetype. I think it's so cool. I think the contact fusion mechanic is so strong. There's just so much, right? There's so many things you can go into. As far as like exactly what I'm expecting, I honestly don't know because I think like Cyber Dragons have been fleshed out so much. I'm like, where are they actually lacking? They have like they can really quickly amount a lot of, you know, like power. So they're powerful and fast. They have, you know, inherent busted mechanics like the contact fusion. They have access to disruption as far as like Infinity and your Cybernetic Overflow goes, but maybe you could say that's a little lacking. So I guess you could try and give them one more other way to set up disruptions. Whatever. They have plenty of extenders between Veer, Nashter, Hers, the Monster Reborn card they have. Like there's so many. They have so much everything. Like what do they not cover? They're just not particularly amazing at everything. I guess like or like anything in particular. I guess they're pretty good at OTKing, but even then like they're only pretty good at OTKing. Like they're not dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs are phenomenal at OTKing, but Cyber Dragons are like pretty good, I would say, especially now in Master Rule 5. So I think Konami needs to do something to give Cyber Dragons a small buff, but not a huge buff. I just want like a little something something, and then they can go to cyberdarks. I really think cyberdarks should be their other concern here, to try and just make them more playable. I think a lot of people just love them for like the anime factor, but making them actually a little bit playable would just be so hype for so many players that either collected them but now like, whoa, I collected these but now they're actually legit, as well as just like the anime fans. So I don't know, those are my thoughts on like this. I think there's just so much goodness. I think Konami, I think this is one of those structure checks where like, no matter what they do, I think it could be good. Like if they went pure Cyber Dragons, it'd still be good. I just think the people that were hoping for Cyberdark stuff would be a little let down, and then people would be like, man, they really did Cyberdarks dirty again. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, Cyber Dragons have so many cards at this moment in time. Like, I'm curious how many more cards they're gonna get here, but that's more of a wait and see kind of thing. But I think there's so much to do here. I think there's just so many ways they could go with this. This isn't like an archetype that has one particularly insane weakness that like they have to cover up. I think the deck is pretty good in a lot of areas, but not like insane in any areas, and that's why it doesn't, you know, constantly like top events and stuff. So I'm curious to see what Konami wants to do here. Obviously, you guys know I'm gonna keep you updated whenever we find that out. It probably won't be for like, I don't know, 6 months. The OCG's not even getting the Ice Barrier structure deck till December, which means this one they'll probably get March 2021. So we've got plenty of time, but we do know it's coming. I'm still excited. I'm gonna keep it in the back of my mind. I'll like think about it every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, that's right, we still got that Cyber Dragon stuff coming, and that's gonna keep me rowdy for this, I guarantee you. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. This one is so much different than the Ice Barrier one, because the Ice Barrier one is like such a much more known quantity of like what the archetype has, what they need to do with it. This archetype is like, one, what are they even gonna do? Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dark, Cyber Ogre, and like what even is Cyber Dragon's like biggest weakness at this point? And like, so there's just like so many more unknowns I felt like with this one, so I'm leaving it more up to interpretation, just giving you guys the facts on this one, because I just really didn't even know like what I would even try and do for like Cyber Dragons. But I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think they're going to do, / what do you want to see? Do you want Cyber Dark? Do you want this to be like all Cyber Dark? Do you want this to be like half and half? Give a little bit of Cyber Dragon support. Maybe it works for both, so you can make Cyber Dragons a little better while also making Cyber Darks better as well, but they still kind of have the synergy in both. Or do you just go hard on the Cyber Dragon side? Are you just like, screw it, screw Cyber Darks, lost cause, get them up out of here, just make Cyber Dragons tier 1? What do you want, and how do you want it? What kind of cards do you want? Like what you know, specific stuff. Like give me like card text and effects and stuff. I'm really curious on seeing what you guys are thinking there. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and you want to see more rambly, loose discussion videos like this one, because that's my specialty. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.